She demanded a car 10K fund and luxury watch. I said no and exposed her. People assume entitlement is something kids grow out of. I used to think the same until my niece Kayla proved me wrong. Kayla isn't even legally an adult yet. She's 17, pretty smart and manipulative in ways most adults can't even keep up with. And somehow she's the golden child of our entire family. My parents spoil her. My brother Jason, her dad shrugs and calls it confidence. His wife Erin treats her more like a girlfriend than a daughter. No one tells Kayla no, not once, except me. I'm Aunt Monica, 32 years old, single, no kids, a solid job in tech consulting, and a life I built with long nights, tight budgets, and sheer determination. I bought my condo outright. I travel when I want. I have nice furniture that I paid for myself. And that's all Kayla needed to decide my life should bankroll hers. Over the past year alone, she's asked me for concert tickets, designer sneakers, and a brand new iPhone just because she didn't like the color of the one her dad got her. Once she even sent me a link to a therapist she found on Instagram. Dad doesn't understand mental health stuff, she texted. You get it? Can you cover this? I paid thinking maybe she was actually trying. But later she joked that the sessions were just paid complaining. That's Kayla in a nutshell. Arrogant, entitled, and somehow always rewarded for it. But nothing prepared me for the graduation registry. It was a Thursday night. I just shut my laptop after a 12-hour workday when my phone buzzed. A text from Kayla. No, hi, no, how are you? Just a link and a line. Hey, Aunt Monica, here's my graduation registry. Thought you'd want to be part of something special. I almost smiled until I clicked. The first item nearly made me choke, a 2025 Mazda CX-70. Yes, an actual car. Retail price, around $30,000. Item number 2, a $10,000 gap year vacation fund for Europe. Number 3, a Cartier watch, $7,000 at least. And it went on Balenciaga sneakers, Hermes wallet, Dyson Airwrap, luxury spa retreat. I scrolled in disbelief. No dorm sheets, no textbooks, no laptop for college. It wasn't a graduation registry, it was a celebrity wish list. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I could have ignored it, laughed it off, forwarded it to Jason. Instead, I typed 2 words that felt like pulling a trigger not happening. The 3 dots popped up immediately. Kayla's reply came like a slap. Then don't show up. I stared at the screen, my jaw tight. She didn't hesitate. She didn't plead. She dismissed me like I was a stranger refusing to comp her dinner bill. And in that moment, everything snapped into focus. Kayla never saw me as family. I wasn't her aunt. I was a walking credit card with a pulse. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. My silence said enough. The next day as graduation week kicked off, my phone buzzed with the predictable calls. Mom, why aren't you coming? Kayla's asking about you. Dad, don't make a scene. Jason, just play nice. Monica. I ignored them all because Kayla's one sentence, then don't show up, confirmed what I'd been avoiding for years. She didn't want me there unless I came with my wallet wide open. So I didn't go. I stayed home, ordered Thai takeout, and let the family learn the truth on their own. What I didn't know then was that this was just the opening shot. Kayla thought she could dismiss me and keep her throne. But her little registry stunt was about to backfire so badly, it would drag every secret she'd been hiding into the light. And I wasn't even going to have to lift a finger. Graduation night came and went without me. I pictured the ceremony in my head, the stadium filled with folding chairs, kids in shiny gowns, families waving balloons. And Kayla, of course, strutting across the stage like she owned it. I didn't sit in the bleachers. I didn't clap when her name was called. I stayed home cross-legged on my couch with leftover pad thai, watching some crime doc I wasn't really paying attention to. Every buzz from my phone reminded me where I wasn't, and I didn't care. At least that's what I told myself. By the time the ceremony ended, the calls started. First Mom, then Dad, then Jason. I ignored the first 3, but when Mom called the 4th time, I finally picked up. Her voice was sharp. Monica, where are you? Kayla kept asking for you. Everyone noticed you weren't there. I bit back a laugh. That's funny. 10 minutes before she walked across that stage, she told me not to show up. Mom sighed, exasperated. She didn't mean it. She's a teenager. You know how they talk when they're upset? No, Mom, I said, leaning forward. She meant it. She's been meaning it for years. You just don't see it. Silence. Then Mom switched gears, her tone dripping with guilt. You embarrassed us. People asked where you were. I didn't know what to say. There it was. It wasn't about Kayla. It was about appearances. It always was. I didn't embarrass you, I said flatly. Kayla did the moment she sent me a shopping list disguised as a graduation registry. The line went quiet again, then the faint shuffle as she handed the phone off. Jason's voice came through low and tense. Monica, we need to talk. Tomorrow, family cookout. Be there. I almost told him to shove it. But something in his tone, half command, half plea, made me pause. For once, he didn't sound like Kayla's spineless defender. He sounded rattled. Fine, I said. I'll be there. I hung up, my heart pounding. Tomorrow. I looked around my condo, the quiet hum of the fridge, the soft glow of the lamp, my sanctuary. Tomorrow, I'd be walking straight into the lion's den. But maybe that was the point. For years, I'd kept my mouth shut at these family gatherings, letting Kayla run her mouth and Aaron smooth things over with a fake smile. Tomorrow, I wasn't going to sit quietly. Tomorrow, they were going to hear exactly what kind of monster they'd been feeding. I crawled into bed that night staring at the ceiling, replaying Kayla's text over and over. Then don't show up. She thought she'd dismiss me. What she didn't know was that she'd set the stage for me to finally speak, and I was done holding back. Sunday afternoon, I pulled up to my parents' house with a knot in my stomach and a fire in my chest. The smell of burgers on the grill drifted across the yard, mixed with the hum of cousins playing cornhole and uncles talking sports. On the surface, it was just another family cookout. But under it, tension so thick, you could slice it. Jason was already there, standing stiff by the grill. Erin sat at the patio table with her trademark everything's fine smile. And then there was Kayla, lounging in a deck chair, like she was queen of the world. Her graduation cap perched sideways for effect, sunglasses covering half her face. She didn't even glance at me when I walked in. Mom rushed over with a tight hug. "Monica." "Please," she whispered in my ear, "don't make today harder than it has to be." Translation, "Don't ruin the show." I gave her a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Sure, Mom. Let's just eat." We went through the motions, paper plates, lemonade, the usual small talk. My dad asked me about work. Erin told a long story about Kayla's manicure before graduation. Kayla rolled her eyes at every adult within 10 feet. Then, like she'd been waiting for her cue, Kayla pulled out her phone and started swiping through photos. "Here's my registry haul," she announced loudly enough for the whole table. "Mom got me Chanel. Dad gave me a Neiman's Spree. Oh, and Aunt Rachel's friend bought me a weekend in Palm Springs." She smirked and added, "Some people showed up for me. The jab was obvious." My grip on my plastic cup tightened, lemonade sloshing near the rim. That's when Mom leaned over with her best fake curious tone. "So what did Monica get you, sweetheart?" Kayla didn't hesitate. She shrugged, smirk still in place. "Nothing." She couldn't be bothered. The table went silent. All eyes turned to me. I set down my cup slowly, my heart pounding in my ears. And for the first time in years, I didn't swallow my words. "That's not true," I said, clearly, my voice cutting through the quiet. I told Kayla I wasn't buying her a car, a $10,000 vacation, and a Cartier watch. Because she's 17, not a celebrity. Jason's fork clattered against his plate. Erin froze mid-bite. Even the kids went quiet. Kayla's face turned crimson under her sunglasses. "That's not..." But I wasn't done. "You all should know what she asked for." I continued, pulling my phone out and sliding it onto the table. "Here's the registry. See for yourselves. A luxury car, designer brands, spa retreats, not a single dorm supply. Not one book. Just greed." Gasps circled the table. My aunt leaned forward, squinting at the screen. "Is this real?" Kayla sputtered. "It's taken out of context." "Is it also out of context?" I cut in. "That she asked me to pay her friend's credit card debt, or that she said my parents were emotionally dead, or that she called Jason and Erin too small-minded to understand her dreams." Jason's head whipped toward her. "Kayla, is that true?" She folded her arms, glaring at me. "You're twisting everything." "No," I said, my voice steady. "For a year and a half, I've been your personal ATM. Concert tickets, iPhones, skincare, and every time you insulted me or this family behind our backs. And everyone here let it slide. Well, not anymore." The silence was deafening. Kayla's bravado cracked. Her lip trembled, and for once, she had no comeback. Mom's face had gone pale. My dad set down his burger like it had turned to ash in his hands. Erin opened her mouth, but Jason's hand shot up, silencing her. His eyes were fixed on Kayla, angry, but worse than that, disappointed. For the first time, the golden child was cornered. The backyard was frozen in silence, every eye darting between me and Kayla. For once, she wasn't smirking. She looked small, cornered, gripping her phone like a shield. Jason finally spoke, his voice low, but shaking with anger. "Kayla, answer me. Did you say those things? Did you ask Monica for all this?" She pushed her sunglasses up onto her head, eyes flashing. "So what if I did? Everyone here knows Aunt Monica has money. It's not like she even has kids. What else is she going to spend it on?" A ripple of shock went through the table. My aunt muttered, "Unbelievable." My cousin shook his head. Jason's jaw clenched. "That's not the point. You don't use family like that. You don't treat people like wallets." Erin jumped in, her voice tight. "She's just a teenager. She doesn't mean..." But Jason cut her off louder now. "No, Erin, don't. We've been excusing her for years. Look where it got us." The words hit harder than I expected. Jason, who usually bent over backwards to defend Kayla, was finally standing tall. Mom spoke next, her voice trembling. "Kayla, is all of this true?" Kayla stared at the ground, lips pressed tight. Her silence was louder than any confession. Dad leaned back in his chair, his face like stone. "Hand me your phone." "What?" "No," Kayla snapped. "Now." His voice carried an authority I hadn't heard in years. Slowly, reluctantly, Kayla slid her phone across the table. Dad picked it up, set it beside him, and folded his arms. Jason looked at her, eyes tired. "From now on, no more vacations. No more money. You're grounded. Summer school starts next week, and you're paying for it by working part-time." Kayla shot to her feet. "You can't do this. You're humiliating me in front of everyone." "No, Kayla," Jason said, his voice steady now. "You humiliated yourself." Her eyes filled with tears, rage, and panic mixing. She looked at Erin, desperate for rescue. But for once, even Erin had no words. And me, I just sat there quiet, watching the golden child's crown finally slip. For years, I've been the one carrying her lies, her insults, her entitled demands. Now the truth was laid bare, and for once it wasn't my burden anymore. It was hers. I stood brushing crumbs from my lap. "I think we're done here." Nobody stopped me, not even Mom. As I walked out of the yard, Kayla's voice followed me, shrill and desperate. "You'll regret this, Aunt Monica. You'll regret it." But I didn't. Not even a little. I didn't hear from them that night. The silence should have felt unsettling, but instead it wrapped around me like a blanket. For the first time in years, I was embracing myself for Kayla's next demand. The next morning, though, Jason's name flashed on my phone. I hesitated before picking up. His voice was flat, exhausted. She lost it, Monica. Full meltdown. Screaming, crying, accusing us of betraying her. Said you humiliated her, said I ruined her life. He sighed heavy and broken. She locked herself in her room for hours. Erin tried to calm her down, but it was ugly. I leaned against the counter, coffee cooling in my hand. Jason, she's been spiraling for years. You just didn't want to see it. There was silence, and for a moment, I thought he'd hang up. Then he whispered, "You're right." That admission stunned me more than anything. Jason, the brother who had spent Kayla's entire life making excuses, was finally cracking. She said some things he went on voice shaking. About us. About Erin. Even about Mom and Dad. Things I can't unhear. It was like she wasn't even our daughter. Just this stranger who's been collecting our weaknesses and throwing them back at us. I closed my eyes, picturing Kayla pacing her room, spewing venom, her walls collapsing around her. She's grounded. Jason continued. No phone, no trips, no friends over. Summer school starts Monday. And this time, I'm not backing down. I didn't say good. I didn't congratulate him. I just let the silence stretch, let him hear his own resolve without me carrying it. Finally, I asked, "Do you believe me now?" There was a long pause. Then, "Yeah, I do. And I'm sorry, Monica. For all of it." I didn't reply. I couldn't. My throat was too tight. That night, I sat in my apartment staring at the ceiling. For years, I'd been the family scapegoat, the one accused of jealousy, of cruelty, of being too harsh. Now for once, the truth was undeniable. Kayla's meltdown had forced them all to see what I'd been carrying. And yet I couldn't shake the unease. Because underneath Jason's apology, I'd heard something else. Fear. Fear that his perfect daughter wasn't just spoiled. Fear that she was broken in ways none of us were prepared to face. It was a Saturday morning when the knock came. I wasn't expecting anyone, and the second I saw Erin's face through the peephole, my stomach tightened. She was holding a Starbucks cup plastering on that half smile she always used when she wanted something. I opened the door just enough to step outside, closing it behind me. She didn't like that I saw it flicker across her face, but she covered it quickly with a chirpy tone. "Monica," she said, handing me the cup like it was some peace offering. "Thought we could talk." I didn't take it. "What do you want, Erin?" Her smile faltered. "I think you overstepped at the cookout. She's just a teenager. You didn't have to humiliate her like that." I laughed sharp and bitter. "Humiliate her, Erin. She asked me for a car, a $10,000 vacation, and a luxury watch. She insulted her grandparents, trashed her parents behind their backs, and treated me like an ATM. All I did was finally say no." Erin's jaw clenched. "But in front of everyone, you embarrassed her." "Good," I shot back. Maybe embarrassment is the only currency she understands, because gifts and indulgence sure didn't teach her anything. For a moment, Erin's mask slipped. Her eyes narrowed, her voice turning cold. "You've always wanted to prove you're better than us. You and your money, your fancy job, your freedom. You don't understand what it's like to raise a daughter in this world." I stepped closer. "And yet somehow, your daughter came to me, not you, when she wanted to figure out how to be better? Think about that, Erin. Why didn't she come to her own mother?" Her face flushed red. She sputtered something about me, being jealous, about family, not tearing each other down, then stormed off, leaving the untouched coffee on my porch like it was some final insult. I watched her car pull away, the knot in my chest loosening. For years, Erin had shielded Kayla from every consequence. Now she was panicking because that shield had cracked and her daughter was starting to see through the lies. And deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. It happened on a Thursday afternoon, weeks after the cookout explosion. I was leaving my office downtown, juggling my laptop bag and a half-eaten protein bar, when I noticed someone sitting alone on the bench outside. At first, I almost walked past.
But then I recognized her, Kayla. For a split second, I didn't believe it. No designer bag, no perfect makeup, no smug smile, just a plain gray hoodie messy bun and jeans that looked like they actually came from Target. She looked small.
She stood when she saw me, her hands stuffed into her pockets. "Can we talk?" I should have said no. Every instinct told me she wanted to manipulate me again, reel me back into her chaos. But curiosity, or maybe something softer, made me nod. We walked to a coffee shop a block away. She didn't order anything, just sat across from me at a corner table, her hands shaking against the wood grain. She spoke before I could. "I was awful to you. For a long time." Her voice cracked quiet but raw. "I don't know why you didn't shut me out completely." I stayed silent, letting her speak. I thought if people gave me stuff, it meant they loved me. That's how it worked at home. If I cried loud enough, someone always fixed it. I thought that's what family was. She swallowed hard, staring at her hands. "But you didn't. You told me no." And for the first time, I had to think about what that meant. Something in her voice wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't smug. It was tired. "My dad's actually being a dad now," she went on. "He took my phone, made me enroll in summer school. Mom barely talks to me. She's mad I embarrassed her. And you embarrassed me too. But it's the first time someone made me stop and look at myself." She looked up, then her eyes glassy but steady. "You're the only one who ever told me no. You're the only one who made me think." The words landed like a stone in my chest. I didn't forgive her, not yet. I didn't offer some warm hug or dramatic reconciliation. I just nodded and said quietly, "Okay." It wasn't a fresh start, but it was the beginning of something real. We left it at that. No promises, no theatrics. She thanked me softly and walked away down the block, hands still buried in her hoodie. For the first time in years, I didn't see the golden child. I saw a girl trying to figure out who she was without the lies. And that scared me more than I wanted to admit. For almost 2 weeks after that coffee shop meeting, there was silence. No texts, no calls, no surprise visits. And honestly, I didn't miss it. I thought maybe Kayla had just needed to vent to unload her guilt, and that was the end of it. Then one night, my phone buzzed with a message from her. Just a photo. In it, she was sitting at a table with a little boy, maybe 8 or 9. A stack of math worksheets lay scattered between them. She had her head bent over the page, pencil in hand, while the boy grinned proudly at something they'd solved together. Her caption was simple. He's terrible at fractions but loves dinosaurs. So now we count in raptors and triceratops. I stared at the screen longer than I'd like to admit. No designer brands, no bragging, no fake sparkle. Just a girl helping a kid with homework. I didn't reply, not right away. I wanted to believe it, but I'd learned better than to trust the first glimpse of change. A week later, another surprise landed in my inbox, an email from my old university. Subject line, recommendation request, Kayla Mitchell. Confused, I opened it. She had listed me as a reference for a competitive summer mentorship program. Behavioral science and leadership. Nothing about fashion shopping or status. Attached was her personal essay. I wasn't supposed to see it, but somehow I did. It wasn't flowery or manipulative, it was raw. She wrote about being spoiled, about mistaking gifts for love, about accountability. She didn't name me directly, but her words painted a clear picture. Real love sometimes comes when someone refuses to give you what you want. For the first time, I felt something I never thought I'd feel toward Kayla. Respect. Still, I kept my guard up. Change can be real, or it can be performance. I wasn't ready to gamble on which one this was. But just as I was letting that thought settle, there was another knock on my door. And this time, it wasn't Kayla. The knock was sharp and patient. When I opened the door, Erin stood there. No Starbucks, no fake smile. Just stiff shoulders and eyes that could cut glass. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. What now, Erin? She didn't waste time. I know what Kayla wrote in that application essay. I didn't flinch. Okay. Her voice rose tight with anger. She made it sound like she raised herself. Like you swooped in as some savior, while we, her parents, neglected her. That's not what happened. She's rewriting history, and it's humiliating. I crossed my arms. If you're more worried about how it makes you look than the fact that your daughter is finally trying to grow, maybe ask yourself why she didn't come to you when things got bad. Her face reddened. You have no idea what it's like to raise a teenage girl in this world? I leaned in steady. And yet somehow, she came to me, not you, when she wanted to change. Why do you think that is? Her lips trembled with fury. You've always wanted to prove you're better than me. Just because you have money, just because you don't have kids? I laughed sharp. This isn't about money, it's about responsibility. You defended her until she had no one left. I didn't take your place, Erin. You abandoned it. For a heartbeat, she just stared at me, breathing hard. Then she hissed. Stay out of our family business. She's my daughter, not yours. I met her glare evenly. Exactly. She's yours. And you had 17 years to guide her. She found me after 3 weeks of silence. That broke something in her. She spun on her heels, storming down the steps without another word. I stood there watching her leave, my chest pounding. Erin's pride had always been fragile, but now it was cracked wide open. And for the first time, I realized her fight wasn't with me. It was with the version of herself she didn't want to admit had failed. Still, I knew this wasn't the last time she'd come knocking. 2 nights after Erin's outburst, my phone lit up with Jason's name. I almost didn't answer. I was tired of being dragged back into their chaos, but something in my gut told me to pick up. His voice was softer than I expected. Monica, I need to tell you something. Kayla came by the house today. Alone. I froze. And she sat down at the kitchen table with Mom and Dad. No phone, no attitude, no audience. She just apologized. His voice cracked like even he couldn't believe it. She told them she was sorry for how she talked to them. Sorry for taking advantage of all of us. Said she was embarrassed not just by what she did, but by how long she let it go on. I sank onto the couch, the weight of his words pressing down. I pictured Kayla, head bowed, no designer bag, no entourage, just a girl facing the people she'd spent years disrespecting. Jason went on. Dad cried, said he hadn't felt proud of her in years. Mom hugged her so tight I thought she might never let go. He let out a shaky laugh. I didn't even know what to say. For the first time in forever, she sounded real. I stayed quiet, letting him fill the silence. She's still rough around the edges, he admitted. Still Kayla. But it's different. She's listening. She's working. It feels like she's finally growing up. I didn't know what to feel. Relief, suspicion, pride. All I knew was that the golden child was starting to shed her crown and maybe, just maybe, becoming human again. But part of me couldn't let go of the unease. Growth takes time, and Kayla's history of manipulation was long. Was this transformation real or just another performance? Jason must have sensed my doubt because he added, she asked to see you, said she doesn't expect forgiveness, but she wants you to know she listens now. Really listens. I didn't answer right away because forgiveness isn't a word you throw around casually, especially not with someone who once treated you like nothing. Let me think about it, I said finally. Jason didn't push. Fair enough. Just don't shut her out completely. This might be the first time she actually means it. When the call ended, I sat there in the dim glow of my living room, heart tangled between hope and caution. Because even if Kayla was changing, I knew one thing for certain: Aaron wouldn't let it go quietly. It was early Monday morning when my phone buzzed with a message I had to read twice to believe. It was from Aaron. Kayla says she wants to move in with you. She claims you're the only adult she trusts. I sat up in bed, staring at the screen, my chest tightening. Kayla? Living with me? It didn't make sense. Or maybe horrifyingly it did. An hour later, Jason called. His voice was calm, almost resigned. She's serious, Monica. She brought it up last week. Said she needs space, wants a fresh start. I thought it was just teenage dramatics, but she's been consistent. She wrote down reasons. Real ones. I pressed my palm to my forehead. Jason, do you even hear what you're saying? She's 17. She's your daughter. Why is she running to me instead of dealing with you and Aaron? He sighed. Because for the first time, she's not running away. She's trying. She said you're the only one who ever told her no, and that's why she thinks she can change around you. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Later that night, I texted Kayla directly. Why do you want to live here? Her reply came fast. Because I don't want to be that person anymore. And I can't change if I'm stuck in a house where everyone treats me like I already failed. A week later, she showed up at my door with a single suitcase. And something I never expected: a handwritten list of rules she'd made for herself. No asking for money. No skipping responsibilities. No excuses. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't redemption. But it was a start. I let her in. Not as family to be spoiled. Not as a golden child to be worshipped. But as a girl who needed to prove she could finally stand on her own. The air felt different with her inside my home, like fragile glass that could shatter at any moment. And deep down, I knew this wasn't just Kayla's test. It was mine too. Thanks for watching and supporting this channel. Every view, like, and comment helps bring more full-story family dramas to life.